there, public group. So I was working on a design in my shop. I was working on a custom order for a client who came up with a totally unique design, which is hanging on the door behind me. Something that she wanted to see done. And after she did that, I was like, hey, another idea just spawned. And so I prepped all the materials for this, and we're going to try a totally new design. I looked for it on Etsy, not there. I looked for it on Pinterest, not there. So I'm pretty confident that this will be a first. So those are always usually a really good sign. So before we get started, my name is Kat. I am the owner of Kat's Creations and More. That is the name of my website. I am also on Kat's Creations Wreath, which is on all my social media pages. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. So if you're interested in any of those things or you're there, you can find me on all of the pages. But if you want to save this design, once we get going and I show you what it is, you will just click the share button down below if you are on Facebook, and if you are on YouTube, you're catching this as an earlier Facebook live, so just click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel so you'll get notified whenever I upload a new video. And then for you guys, all you have to do is click the save button, and you can go ahead and save that tutorial. Now, Facebook followers, I really need your help because I'm trying to figure out a couple things on Facebook because numbers are just not adding up. So I need your help. Make sure that you are liking my page, which is super easy enough to find. You can find that right below on my Facebook page. However you guys are viewing that, make sure you've hit liked, but then also follow the page. So really super simple. From the like button, I've just verified this. You go over 3 dots, click on the 3 dots. If it already says following, you're good. If it doesn't, make sure you're clicking the follow button so that you get notifications, because I want to make sure that you're not missing out on anything. With all the changes that Facebook's been making lately, the things that we had set up earlier are no longer working for us. So we need to make sure that we get those things back in order. So if you guys can do that, I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and preview down. We're going to talk about all the materials. I haven't put this together, so I'm going to see this be put together just like you guys are, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it turns out okay. So hang tight. I'm going to go ahead and pivot you down. Oops. My mount is a little sticky today. We have a lot of humidity, and it's pretty warm in my shop. So we are using the Unique in the Creek large flower board. So you can find this at uniqueinthecreek.com. You can also find it at Craft Outlet. I think Trendy Tree sells it. I believe Hobby Lobby is carrying it, although I haven't checked. And I was just at Hobby Lobby yesterday. Go figure. So I could have checked and picked those up. But we are going to be doing a candy corn colored rose wreath. So we're going to be using orange, yellow, and white on the Unique in the Creek large flower board. You will need a grand total of 44 pieces. That's what it'll take to put this entire rose together. And then you can, if you've never made a rose before, you can use this formula for any type of design that you have, because the tutorial works for everything, whether you're going to be changing the colors, alternating the colors, or just going straight colors. The process of putting it together is exactly the same. So I am also going to be using candy corn ribbon, which is from Michaels. This is 5/8 inch. I'm going to make that my hanger just to kind of keep the candy corn theme going. This is a great Halloween decoration. This is perfect for Halloween, perfect for fall without going, you know, you can leave it up from Halloween all the way through fall because it's not going to have anything like happy trick or treat. So if you guys are coming in, say hi. I'd love to say hi to you. Let me pull up comments and pin everything to the bottom. If you decide that you like this design and you want to purchase it, it is available on my website only. And I still don't know why Facebook has limited how I view my comments now, but I think that's just another one of those changes too. And then I'll go over all the materials with you. So I'm going to pin my website below. So if you guys are interested in this, I only make one of every design. So just like the one on the back door, or on my door that I'll show you guys again momentarily if you missed it from when we first went live. We will talk about that one as well. That was a custom order. I was just fiddling around in my shop and I'm like, I wonder if this will work for what she wanted. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a hanger. So let me go over the materials really quick. 15.5. It's like 15.5 large, unique in the creek flower board. 5/8 ribbon, or you can just use a zip tie or a pipe cleaner. You will need, for this one, a roll of yellow, a roll of white, and a roll of orange deco mesh. I have you'll need a grand total of 44 pieces. That's how many fit the board. But we're going to kind of see how it all plays out with colors and positioning on the board, so I won't have final numbers until the very end. You will need binder, clips, clothespins, or like these things that, whatchamacallit, Dollar Tree has. These just kind of help hold your petals in place until we get everything together and then you can let it go. So you'll need some of those. Zip ties is what works for me, so I'm using 6-inch zip ties. You will also need 2 rubber bands, whether you choose thick, whether you choose thin. It is entirely up to you. I think I have like a small, a medium, and a large, and you'll see why. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a hanger. So on the Unique in the Creek board, it does have a location for your hanger. Hi, Loretta. She said, I hope everyone is managing through their heat really well. And I'm trying to like mentally think of what I'm doing. I want to go down through this way and then come back up from the board to make my hanger, because I need the knot to be on the inside of the board. So just like this, I'm going to flip that over so that I want to make sure I have a nice enough hanger for that. Just like that. And then I'm going to pull a little bit of extra so that I can go ahead and tie that really well. And nice and tight. Just fun little festive ribbon hanger to go right in here. Okay, so there is my hanger. We're all set to begin. And I can't wait to see how this turns out, because 44 does not divide equally by 3, and those are the 3 colors, so we're going to see how this all plays out. Okay, so you are going to use wood burning tool, and it worked on all of the mesh. So it worked on the orange and, which is just a regular polypropylene deco mesh. It also worked on this check fabric mesh. Which is surprising, because I totally thought it would not work with the real cotton fibers through it, but it went through it flawlessly. So you will need 10 by 10 pieces. Always check your deco mesh to see what the dimensions are. So this one is a 10-inch roll of deco mesh, whereas this one is 10.5. Which means that if you're looking to make perfect squares, the yellow need to be 10.5, and the orange need to be 10. It says, didn't know you were going live today. Neither did I, but I was like, I'm out here in my shop just kind of working on a custom order, and then this idea popped up and I was like, I really want to see what that would look like. So I did the research, didn't find it, and I'm like, let's just put it together and see what happens. Vivian says, I hope your craft room is cooler. It's sitting right at about 86, so it's still warm, but I have all the doors open and the windows open, so I have a pretty good breeze coming through. We are actually going to, if you've ever made a rose wreath, our biggest challenge is always how to get the outside pieces to stay together. Most of the time people will glue their tails in, or people have stapled them in, but here is the technique that is going to just be life-changing for you. So I have all of my zip ties on the outside. I'm going every other one, not doing the one with the hanger, so it's just one on each side, and then every other one after that. That would be row, I think it's 5. Let me look. Does this one have the numbers? That would be row 1. Row 2 has zip ties in every one of the 16 double holes, which means that we're not using the shared holes. So 16 here, 8 on the outside, 16. Then going down to row number 3, we are pairing those up again with the double holes, and there are 8 here. And then for row 4, we're doing 8, saying with the same thing, just the double holes, no shared holes. And then on row number 5, we're not going to be using the 2 center. We are going to just be using the 4 on the outside. We're not putting anything in the center. Okay. Again, we'll wait and see how the color combination works out. I mark these relatively what I think might work, but until we see it all together, we won't know. So I'm going to start right here with a white piece of deco mesh, but let me show you how to make the petal first. So we have a 10-inch by 10-inch piece of deco mesh, finished edge here. We're going to turn it so it's on the diagonal. We're going to take the top corner, bring it down to the bottom corner, and just make sure that everything just kind of matches as best as it possibly can. And so it's in a nice little triangle. And then we're going to gather in the center so that it starts to curl the deco mesh around, almost like what we did for the spiral. We're going to give it about a 3-inch tail, and I'm putting a zip tie on the end because I don't like using rubber bands. We're going to go ahead and cut that off, and that is how we are building the petal. Vivian says petal on the left. Let me see that. I think so. So finished edge, yes, on the left. So finished edge again, tilting it to the diagonal. We're taking top to bottom. It actually doesn't matter because we have finished edge here. Yeah, but not finished edge here. Just bringing top to bottom, gathering in just like this. It's about a 3-inch tail, 6-inch zip tie. Zip tie that in, take the ends off, and we are good. So you're going to do this for all of your petals. What I did is I did 14 of each, because that would give me, what, 30, I'm trying to do the math in my head, 12, carry the 1, 42, and so I needed an extra 2. So I made 2 of each color, so what would that make it? 16 of every color, to figure out which ones are going to work. So we're going to start here with the white. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push my tail in, and what I'm going to do is when I am securing this, it's going to be on the back side of the zip tie so that I cannot pull this out. Okay, and yes, I'm leaving the tail in there. We're not securing it yet. From here, we're going to go to our next color, which is orange. So orange, same petal. I am going to place the orange in right here, get it past the zip tie point, but now this is where it gets kind of challenging. Just on the outside row, you are going to take the end from the white, you're going to tuck it in the inside of that same pipe cleaner. Let me bring this down much closer for you guys. Okay, here's my white, here's my orange. Okay, I want to make sure that's going to go past that board, and I'm just going to utilize my clip to hold that in place till I get it going, because I need to get one more. One more in here. Okay, so I need to get the yellow. And you'll understand why it all works here in a second. So again, I'm doing the same thing with my yellow. I am now going to take this off. I need to stretch the orange into the yellow, right? Here's my yellow. I am just going to now, I'm going to add this in here. We already have our white in with our orange in the middle. Here's our white. Here's the orange. Now we are going to take the yellow and we're going to add the yellow to the top. So that technically I have the orange, a little bit of the white from this side, and a little bit of the yellow from the other side. Want to bring my zip tie up, and I'm going to go ahead and cinch that down nice and tight so that it is holding the right side of my white piece. It is holding the solid center of my orange and the left side of my yellow. Now, this is where it gets a little bit easier, because once you get the first one in, you're good. From here, we're going to come back in with our white, doing the same thing. We're going to pull that in. We're going to go under with our yellow, right? And I only do it this way just because I'm trying to get this one secured in. We have the orange brought in from the clip prior. Here's our orange. Here's our yellow. Now I've got to tuck in my white. Okay. Going past my zip tie. And I'm going to trim this off right at the get-go. Now we're going to continue to go all the way around. Here, we're at orange. Oops. So our orange goes, the center always goes in where it's supposed to. I am going to take care of this one first, which I'm just going to bring my orange in here. Okay. Right over the top of my zip tie, nice and tight. I'm going to take my white. I'm going to tuck this under my orange, and when I tighten that, it lifts my petals up so that it's forming a bowl. Okay, so I've got that there. Here's my orange. I'm going to try to hold those together, and I'm going to put my white in. So here's my white. I need the end of this to go in here so I can secure this. I need all three pieces. I need the right side of the petal previously, the center of the one going in, and the left side of the one coming in. Oops. This should have been How did they change that? Let me look. Let me just double check. Yep, we've got orange. White, orange. This should have been yellow. Let me look. Whoop. So that's going to change my layout already. Okay, I'm just going to take and pull this in so that I can zip tie all 3 pieces down. I'm going to take this one, tuck it under the one preceding. So see, here is my orange, here's my white, or yellow. Now I'm going to grab my white for this one. But I need to get the corner to go into our third. It always goes, one is on the bottom, the one before it is always on the top. Okay, that is off. We're taking the yellow has to go under the white. And sometimes it's just barely enough, but you'll notice that the tighter you pull it, the more it'll start to cup and lift your petal in that section. And then we're going to do orange. Okay. So I'm bringing this one in, just kind of locking that in. I'm going to take the end, going to tuck it under here, grab my zip tie. So I have all 3 pieces in one. Okay, taking my white end on the right hand side, tucking it under my orange. Here's my orange. And now I'm going to get yellow. No, this is where they go together. So this is where I am now bringing this one over. Okay, we're pulling that in. I need to find where is the front of my zip tie. It went to the underside. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, we've got that one in. Here's our white. The orange is in. I'm going to grab the white from the very front that we started. So I have them all in. We're going to zip tie that one down. And now these two are going to go together. So this is where we're going to have the orange joined together. So this is where I was saying that when we are doing this design, it doesn't divide equally into 3s. So you're going to have an overlap somewhere. So I'm going to stretch my orange to go in with my original white. I'm going to take my orange here. And I'm going to try to tuck that right inside my zip tie here. And then I'm going to pull everything down nice and tight. Just like that. And do you see what it's done? Let me zoom out. We now have a bowl shape. So all of the petals now are pulling up. What this does is those of us who have made wreaths in the past is when you flip this over, we don't have any of those tails now sticking out, coming loose. They're all secured inside, and what that does is with your next row, it's going to push your petals towards the middle. Okay? I like leaving this on because it does help to camouflage the board. You can tuck them into the previous piece if you want. I usually just leave them to the outside. But now we're going to go ahead and get ready to do the inside. And do you guys have any questions before we do that? Hi Karen. Hi Cheryl. Hi Vivian. Hi Elizabeth. Okay, so we're starting the center. So this has orange, a yellow, an orange, and a white. So I have 2 oranges. So I'm going to start with the first one. And this is where we start building from the inside and work our way out. Now I'm not going to allow it to go quite so far, because if I do, I'd go completely out the other side. So I'm just going to tuck that one. But I do want to make sure that it comes all the way past my zip tie. I'm going to keep zooming it in as tight as I can so that you can see I'm putting my zip tie behind the one that is in there. I'm going to snip that end off. Okay. Now we're going to add yellow. So I'm just going to turn it. I'm just going to snip the ends off, because right here in the center, it's kind of tight. So we're going to put our yellow in, going past the zip tie. I'm going to cut this off. Okay, and so you're seeing that I'm overlapping one on top of the other. I'm going to do orange here. It doesn't matter, you're going to have to double up somewhere, so I opted to do with orange. So I'm going to stuff this one in. Let me go this way. I like to do it with my zip ties facing up. And again, zip tie past that point. Okay. And then we've got our white piece, which is going to be left right here in the center. So I'm just barely snipping the ends off. Bring that in. Get my zip tie to go behind it, so it cannot be pulled out no matter how much the customer wants to fluff it. Okay. Then from here, we are going to start to form our center. I'm going to zoom out so you can kind of see this a little bit better. This is where you will need a rubber band, so make sure you have a rubber band handy. Also make sure you have either a clothespin or a clip handy, because you're going to need to clip them. I think I'm going to start with the orange in the center. So I'm just going to take my orange and bring it to the center, and then make everything else lay on top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start small, and I'm going to spiral and wrap my center. So you want to keep it kind of low but tight. So you're just wrapping your center. And sometimes you just kind of have to hold the inside. You want the inside one to be the tightest you can get. And then this is where I will take my chip clip and kind of hold that center in place. And now I'm going to wrap the outside pieces, which means all I'm going to do is bring this around, and I'm going to wrap this around my orange center. So I'm keeping it kind of low, the edge towards the board. Okay. Then I'm going to take my white. I think I might do the orange. The orange logistically should be next. Let me get them all untwisted. So I'm always holding the end. We're going to lift that up so that we can bring this around. And I'm working in a really small little confined space because I have to go within the space of the next row of deco mesh. So here, again, along the outside, taking and pulling this around. Nice and tight. Just like that. So we've created our center, and I'm holding it nice and tight, and then this is where I'm going to come in with a pretty wide zip or rubber band, and I'm going to lay this in at the very base where I've kind of tucked all my pieces so they don't come undone. Okay, and then you can still fiddle with your center if you'd like. I'm going to kind of just hold it right there just until I build my next section. Do you guys have any questions about how to build the center? You're just wrapping your ends. Okay, so I pretty much ended here. So now I'm going to come in with the next color that I have, which is white. And I'm going to leave my tails on these. So I'm bringing it in, and I'm just zip tying it nice and tight to the bottom. Same thing. We're now working on row number, this is 1, 2, 4. Then we're going to do yellow. So adding my yellow. And I'm going to zip tie that down. Okay. Tuck that in. It's just laying in its little channel. It's going to go right in between here for now. Okay. Then we're going orange. Yes. I was like, how did I figure it orange? I was looking at the wrong row. Okay, bringing it in, and I'm always pushing it forward. And I'm a snip as you go girl, because I don't like the tails to be in my way. So we're going white. So bringing that into the center, past the zip tie, allowing that to just kind of build. It's like building its own little spiral. Then we have yellow. Okay. Going to lay that on the inside. And you have the option, if you don't want the tails there and you just want to snip them back, you can. I find that it helps to kind of camouflage the board. So if you were to look directly in at times, you might be able to see. And so that's where those kind of come into play. And we're going with white, right? No, should have been orange, girl. Let me look. White, yellow, orange. White, yellow, should be orange. We shall see what it ends up looking at. It might have just been how I was lettering the board as I was going around. Okay, and then we're going to do white. pulling that in. And I'm going to do yellow. Since we have white and white, it says orange, but I'm going to opt for yellow. Pull it past. We're going to zip tie it nice and tight. And then from here, because this is the last piece, guess what? This is where we are going to start our second wrap. So now we are going to wrap, and you'll see that it forms one lip here. Oop, I forgot. Get that zip tie out of the way. Then I'm going to take my next piece, bringing it in, and wrapping that up. Grabbing my orange, and bringing that up. Then I'm going to grab my yellow, trying to hold it all together, and grab this, and then we're going to bring our white around. Then we have our orange. Deco loves to stick to each other, so I'm always just trying to wrap. And then here is our last yellow piece. And if you find that you need a couple extra hands, feel free to kind of take pieces and just hold them together, like clothespin them together until you can get your pieces all lined up in a nice row. And then guess where the next rubber band comes into play? Right here, right around the second part of your bud. So again, around the bottom, to hold everything in place. Now I can take that one away, and you can see that we've built ourselves a really nice, beautiful little spiral, just like so. And now we're going to come in, and this one we don't have to clip and we don't have to tighten. These are where they're going to start to fall in line with everything else. Trying to decide where I want to go. We're gonna just go with whatever I have marked, and if I need to change it, I need to change it. The next piece is gonna be orange. Same process. Place them in nice and tight, and we're trying to keep it in that channel. So in between, like right in here, is where you want your pieces to fall. Okay, then we're gonna go yellow. Just going to pull that through, and then zip tie that nice and tight. Again, laying that on the inside and bringing that up. Now we're doing white. Elizabeth's like loving the colors. It's funny because when I look at that, it's like the yellow looks like it's like neon green, and it's not. It is a true yellow. So I always find that if you focus on the piece that is coming in and get that laid down in there, it's easier. And then you can make the adjustment to the outside piece. Okay. And now we're going orange. So take your front, lay that in here. Maneuver your piece in, and it's much easier to tighten those down like that. And then bring it back into its little channel. And now we're going yellow. allowing that to lay flat. Okay, and we have our white. Tuck the end in. Zip tie that in place. So each piece is kind of like forming its own like little spiral. Then we're back to orange. And then we have white, and then we finish the mid-range row. So laying that in. And then we have our piece of white. And you're already thinking, well, I can already see that. Well, we have to push those up so we can get to the row behind that one. And that's where everything's going to start. Trying to get that whole piece in. And we're going to tuck right inside. Okay, so for this, I need to lift these because there's no way I can get to this final row without pushing these forward. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I am going to start here, and I'm just going to pull my orange up just so I can get that final row. I can't access it right now with everything in the way. So you'll see me use clips to clip to the outside so that I can bring all those pieces up. And at this point, those little tails are all getting tucked underneath the center. So every time there's a center, I'm just kind of tucking them under those pieces before. It just helps to have a helping hand so that you can see what the heck are you trying to do. Okay, we're getting this lifted. Slowly coming around. And like I said, all this is doing right now is allowing me the space to put in this final row. So once I get that in, I can release the clips and they can fall back into the place where they are. But at least for now, it's just kind of helping me hold them out of the way. Okay, so that I can get to this final row, which I'm going to start here with yellow. Same thing, exact same way we've been doing it. We're going to do yellow. And then we're going to do our orange. Same thing, sliding them in that final channel. Here's our orange. Maneuvering it to the side so that all my sides are laying in the same way. They're all pointing that direction. Just like that. Those little tails are all laying this way. So just moving them in the little channels. So we have white. This last row has 16 petals, so you're really going to see it's going to fill a lot. So all you really want to do is be focusing on where are your petals. You know, you're pointing them down, you're keeping them in the channels. Okay, we've got yellow. Ah, thanks, Teresa. She says, oh darn, I came in late. I'll have to watch on replay. It looks beautiful. Thank you. Oop, grabbed my other pipe zip tie in there. So, making sure I've got my ends laying down. Okay. Then we've got orange. We're going to have to make some orange. We'll have to look at the petal thing again. Okay. So, laying my first piece in. Laying this one into its little channel. Snip that off. And now we have our white. So it's always easy to guide this one in. Then get your zip tie going. And then lay this piece where it needs to go. So you see it's just kind of forming these little bowls that are all going around. And now we have yellow. Oop. Missed it. It's supposed to be over here. I grabbed the wrong one. I can still put it in, but I have a smaller gap to work in. Oops. Okay, orange. Put the front piece in. Push my tail all the way through. Tighten my zip tie. Cut the tail off, and then line this in the channel for the next piece, which is white. Isn't it hard to believe that there is no candy corn color roses on Pinterest? Wreaths with candy corn in it, but nothing along the lines of like what I was looking for. So we're always making sure our tips are pointed down. Everything is down. Okay, we're back to yellow. Pushing this one in. Tucking the tip. Lining up everything else for the preceding piece. Now we're going to need orange. So always make sure you get your corner here because it always wants to stick on the piece before and after. So here's one. We're tucking it in. These always go down towards the board. Okay, white. Put your tip down first, then bring your tail in. And then we're going to tighten this down. And we'll tuck that down. And then now we're doing yellow. It's going over there. Steve's trying to come in and fix my little fan. I was like, you moved it, but it's just now hitting someplace totally different. We're just trying to move the airflow. Okay, tuck. Okay, orange. This is where we have to build another orange petal. So again, for those of you that joined late, 10 by 10 petal. Here's our finished edge cut with wood burning tool. We're going to go corner to corner. Okay, and line those up so you have like a good sized triangle. And then you're just going to gather right here about a 3-inch tail. I prefer to use the zip ties because the elastic bands or rubber bands, they have a tendency of snapping. So there's that one. So we're going to go ahead and tuck this one in. I think we'll need one more orange, which we can build here in a second. I'm going to now, we've met the other side. Okay, so we're still tucking them in the channel. We have our white. Tucking this down. Okay, one last piece, I think. Yeah, one. And it's going to be yellow. Perfect. Okay, so we're tucking this one in. First, we're going to tuck in the tail in the front. Slide this back. I'm going to zip tie the end in so I get that part out of the way. And then now, this is where we've joined the tips from the front to the tips from the back. But before we do that, like right now it looks great. What you want to do now is just release all of your, remember how we had those so they were out of the way? So now we want to kind of come in and make sure that now all your pieces are laying flat. So we have all of our tails in. And so they all just kind of start to fall open. And we're going to address the center because I need that to stay nice and tight. So what I'm going to do is, I have my glue gun on. So I need that little end to stay in there. So I'm adding a drop of glue. And I'm going to kind of hold it so that it doesn't unspiral while that sets up. But then in the meantime, just continue to move the angles of your petals so those are all in place. But what do you guys think? This is the candy corn rose. And so now we can pull all those pieces out and let them fluff in. Nice and pretty, just like so. And that is our candy corn colored Halloween rose. I was thinking about doing one with like black and purple and like green. Yeah, maybe. I have to like look at that for here in a second. Let me make sure this is set up. And I like to just kind of tuck the center in so that it's got the bud part forming. let's put this up on the door so that you can see.
Vivian asked her, are the tips in the middle rows secured in any way? I don't know, did you see that question?
No, let me look. Okay, so there's that. So Vivian said, are the tips in the middle secured in any way? So in here and around the outside, Vivian, there's a rubber band that holds the center together. You could technically take it out. They're not going to do anything. It's just to kind of help keep them in that pattern so that you can continue to lay every other row. But I definitely would leave the first 4. But you can remove those. Hold on, babe. Leave that there for a sec. So let me show you. This is the one that I just did for the customer, which inspired me to come out here and make more. I had a customer who had an idea to do two-tone green to kind of give it a succulent look. And so I happen to have like 4 rolls of like discontinued mesh. So I made this for her. And when I pulled up succulents, there actually is a succulent that looks very much like a rose, and she is in love with this. So this is getting shipped out tomorrow to her. But this is just to show you that, you know, don't just think typical rose colors. You know, think outside the box, like with the Halloween candy corn rose. So here is our candy corn hanger. So there is our center, and that one is all set and ready to go. So anything that you want to address or fluff, you could definitely do that. Remember, like we had all of our petals initially at the top. You can come around and just tuck your corners back in.
Kat says, Joan said, I'm totally in love and awe with this design.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just thought, you know what? Think outside the box, right? We have candy corn. We've done the spiral candy corn already. And so I was like, let's just make a candy corn rose. So we use the Halloween colors without going too far to the extreme and just use the orange, yellow, and white to make that wreath. So, any other questions you guys have? Brenda says, so beautiful. Pam says, beautiful. Joy says, absolutely beautiful. Caitlin says, I love these. So, yeah. And keep in mind that you can do this with any color rose. You can do solid rose. You can pick variegated colors of like a red, a burgundy, and maybe a rose gold, and try doing something with like a two-tone kind of look like I did with the two-tone green, and just see what you come up with. And you just never know. You might come up with the next viral thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I wanted to make it up to you guys because it was way too hot yesterday. Even though it's still warm today, I was like, I need to get out there and I need to get this done. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. And then come back tomorrow morning because I have a new design for you tomorrow too. So I'll talk to you then. Bye for now.